When JBL announced a flurry of different over-ear Bluetooth headphones, I was very much intrigued to see how they would compare with some of its rivals. Now, I reviewed the Club one not too long ago, but these are the ones which sit just under it. It's the N50 NC. They come in at around £130 in the UK and around $200 in the US. If you're interested in purchasing it, the locally link in the description below will take you to your localized Amazon store. Now, also in the description, you'll find some alternative suggestions to these headphones and ones I'll be referencing throughout this review. And furthermore, if you've got social media and you use Instagram or Twitter, I'd very much appreciate a follow. And furthermore, if you're interested in all electric or hybrid news or reviews, do check out Totally EV. Your support would be equally appreciated. So let's kick things off and talk about what you get in the box. Now, you've got a 3.5mm jack to 2.5mm jack connector. That is going to be important because you will get the best sort of sound quality over it in comparison to Bluetooth, and we'll touch upon this in the sound quality section, but it's just worth knowing that you get that included. And then you've got a flatline cable, which is nice to see, Type C to Type A cable, and a small little touch, but one that's definitely appreciated in my books, that you've got a double-pronged USB. In other words, you can use it in either way. Just a small little nifty inclusion by JBL. Now, in terms of the carrying case, it is pretty small, and in fact it feels like a little bit of a tight squeeze for the headphones. Nevertheless, they do fit in there, and they do provide you a little bit of extra security, whereby the hard shell carrying case will provide you from sort of knocks and falls, and it's got a little clasp over here for you to attach it to, let's say, your belt, or let's say a bag or something like that. Now, onto the headphones themselves, you can see that they fold in. However, the cups themselves can't be folded flat, so it's just worth bearing that in mind. Now, the headband adjustment is easy enough to execute, and it's nice to hear that sort of clicky type of nature. I think most people won't have a problem in terms of finding the right size for them, given the fact that the headphones are pretty adjustable. The only thing worth bearing in mind in this section is the fact that the headphones have got a pretty strong clamp force, and for my size head, I found them just to be a bit too tight. And while they will stay pretty much firmly in place when you are taking them on a run, for example, they just won't feel that comfortable, namely if you wear glasses like I do, specifically at home. In terms of the top of the headband, it's padded very, very slightly, and it's also got a little bit of holes in there in order to prevent you from sweating. And in that sort of domain, I will say that the ear pads themselves do attract quite a little bit of heat, and you will feel that you do sweat a little bit after a little while with these pads on. So just worth bearing that in mind. Nevertheless, the pads themselves are relatively soft. Again, if you're depending on the size of your head, you might find these a little bit uncomfortable. On that subject as well, I will say these headphones are pretty heavy. They're around 372 grams, at which point they do make them a little bit uncomfortable for longer periods of listening, specifically if you're going to be using them, again, out and about and moving about. You'll feel a kind of sense of relief when you get these headphones off your head, and I would say it's one of my major criticisms in terms of the design of them. Still, for other people out there, they will really love the fact these headphones are really solidly built. They've got a really nice sort of design, and the headband itself and even the cups themselves just feel really premiumly made. Now, in terms of the left and right adjustments, you've got within the inner cup, you've got right and left, so it's easy to see. So on the left hand side, in terms of buttons as well, this is also pretty comprehensive, because you've got on and off button, Bluetooth pairing, and then a button in order to enable ambient aware or talk through mode. So that's a nice inclusion, and then it's 2.5mm jack connection. Then on the right hand side, you've got plus and minus buttons, which also double up as previous and skip, and a play and pause button as well. And then you've got another button over here to increase the bass. I would truthfully not suggest this at all, but you know, for some people who wants that extra bass for some reason, you can enable that. I just feel it just completely destroys the overall sound quality of these headphones. Then you've got a USB Type C connector to charge up these headphones. Now, these headphones won't take too long to charge, but what you would like to know is that with ANC enabled and Bluetooth, you'll get up to 22 hours of playback time. If you were to switch off the ANC and you have only Bluetooth on, you'll get up to 55 hours, which is pretty insane. And if you were to have ANC and use the auxiliary cable, in other words, a 3.5mm jack, then what you'll find is the headphones will get up to 30 hours of playback time. Now, moving on, we've got the JBL headphone app, and I really feel this is a great inclusion with these headphones because it allows you to customize them. Now, you can enable or disable ANC, and you can see it instantly responds with the headphones. And the smart ambient mode, you can change this to the talk through or the ambient aware, and you can see what it does. If you want more information, I would suggest looking up on JBL's website. Now, through the settings cog, you can update the firmware, and you can choose your voice assistant, so you have it default or not. Now the thing which is most important, I would say, is the EQ function. Now you can use preset EQ profiles by these DJs, or alternatively you can set your own EQ. So right now you can say it's disabled, and if I were to enable it, you've got some weird EQs that you can choose from. But the best thing about this is that you can create your own EQ and use your own EQ that you want. And in my case, I up the mids by a slight little degree. What I love about this is JBL have given you pretty much unlimited customization in terms of enabling the EQ, and even tells you in terms of how many decibels you're adjusting by and what frequency you're adjusting. And I really love this because the EQ can make a massive difference in terms of the overall sound quality, and we'll touch upon this in the sound quality section. But I just really love the fact that JBL have included this, and at this price range it's kind of a rarity to find headphones that have actually a pretty comprehensive EQ function.
And now let's get on to performance, and let's kick things off and talk about the recording / call quality. What you'll be able to hear right now is everything is coming straight from the headphones themselves. And what I will say is that the overall sound quality of my voice does sound a little bit muffled and a little bit subdued. And specifically, if you've got environment sound around you, what you'll find is that the headphones do struggle to cancel out noise around you and kind of bring your voice more to the foreground of, let's say, the call.
Now with that all in mind, let's get on to noise cancellation performance. And here, these have a slightly different technology, and that's really what sets them apart in comparison to the JBL Club 1s, which are far more superior in this domain. Still, the Club 1s weren't exactly mind-blowingly great in terms of noise cancellation performance, and as a result, the 950NCs were actually more of a degraded performance. But on the plus side here is that we're not talking about headphones that cost 2 times the price of the N50NCs. We're talking about headphones that cost $200, so that's £130. And in this respect, the 950NCs do a great job, because in comparison to what else you can find out there on the market, these are really much competent at handling, well, basically reducing the amount of environmental noise that you're getting in your ears by incorporating active noise cancellation technology. So in this respect, if you set your sights in terms of, like, your expectations as to what you should expect from a headphone at its price category to perform, then these headphones are very good. And in comparison to, let's say, the Philips PH805s, which I would deem as one of the best mid-tier headphones in terms of noise cancellation headphones, these do a great job by competing with them, if not surpassing them in certain domains. Now, while ANC performance is very much bang on average, the sound quality that you get from these headphones is actually quite shockingly good. Now, first off, I will like to say that in comparison to, let's say, the Club 1 or even some of the other headphones in this price category, or even the more flagship headphones, these headphones only support the SBC codec, and it becomes inherently apparent when you compare the headphone sound quality by plugging these in via the 2.5 to 3.5mm jack interconnect into a source, such as, let's say, a smartphone, and then comparing the sound that you get over Bluetooth. The SBC codec is the lowest quality Bluetooth, and it just would have been nice to see the AAC codec supported here, not only for Android users, but for iPhone users as well, or even taking the next step above and including the aptX or above codecs. Alas, that's not the case, so as a result you get the degraded audio performance over Bluetooth. But given these are Bluetooth headphones, I am reviewing the Bluetooth audio quality rather than comparing them to the wired quality, if that makes sense. All I will say is the wired quality will give you better sound quality, and namely when it comes to the instrument separation, and in terms of the mids, they just sound a little bit more forward sounding. Now, with that out of the way, let's break it down in terms of overall sound frequencies. Starting off with the sub bass. Now, JBL is known for having that bassy type of sound signature, and it comes very much across with the N50NCs. Now, as I mentioned before, you can EQ them, but to my music taste, which is R&B and dance music, I found them actually really pleasant in this domain. The sub bass does extend really well, and the mid bass gives you a nice sort of healthy punch and slam, whilst not sounding too overpowering or over bloated. Furthermore, the bass is pretty precise and clean sounding, something that some of its competitors simply can't even compete with. And I'm talking competitors, I'm talking about headphones which cost far more than these N50NCs. As for the mid, they are slightly recessed and a little bit pushed back, but in the grand scheme of things, at this price range, they're actually incredibly impressive. Specifically, if you add a little bit of EQ, gives a little bit more of life in that mid-range tone, and as a result, the N50NCs actually sound fantastic in this domain. Again, in comparison to other headphones at its price category, I think these are the best sounding headphones in the mid-range department. Again, they won't compete with the likes of, let's say, Sennheiser Momentum wireless headphones, which are spectacular in this domain, but again, those cost about 2 to 2.5 times the price of these headphones. Now, as for the highs, they extend really well. They might be a tad sibilant to some people's ears, but you can EQ that again from the very comprehensive app that JBL have included. And in my opinion, leaving it as default, I found that the overall highs do extend really well and give you a nice sort of tone at that top end. While they will sound a little bit more rolled off in comparison to flagship headphones out there, on the whole the 950NCs do a fantastic job in this domain. Now, as for the instrument separation, I did mention that it does get a little degraded performance when it comes to listening over Bluetooth, but still, while listening over a wireless connection, these headphones do a great job in terms of separating instruments. And again, in comparison to other headphones out there, I would say these are very much at the top of my list when it comes to instrument separation. Likewise, when it comes to the overall soundstage, the width and depth that you get with these headphones is again similarly impressive. You get a good sort of depth to your music, which is not something I would normally accustom or kind of put to in comparison to headphones that cost at around £130 or $200. I'll tell you the Philips PH805s give it a good run for its money, and in this domain they're pretty equivalent. If anything, the Philips are slightly better, but again, this is very much nitpicking at this point. On the whole, what I will say is that the overall sound quality that you're getting from the N50NCs is actually really good, and at this price range, it's something that you will definitely want to consider, be it with ANC or not. These headphones do sound really good for their price, and again, if you set your expectations for £130 to $200, then I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you can get in terms of listening to these headphones. So this ultimately leads me on to my verdict. I think JBL have done a great job over here with the N50NCs. In fact, I would so much say that they're a better buy over the Club One, which the Club One are a little bit more premium in terms of what they offer, in terms of the noise cancellation and even the Bluetooth codec that they offer, but they are supremely more expensive. They're twice the price at the time making this review over the N50NCs, at which point, if you are looking for mid-tier headphones, you're essentially getting the cheaper sibling over the Club One. And in comparison to its other competitors out here, I would say its closest one is the Philips PH805, which I referenced, and in this respect it's kind of a toss-up as to what you prefer. If you want sound quality, then I'd go for the JBL headphones. If, however, you want something that's a little bit more comfortable, a little less weighty and heavy, and has a little bit less of a clamp force, then the Philips will be my take for that. So I think JBL have done a great job on the whole, and I feel that these headphones are very much worthy of my value award, purely because of the sound quality you're getting for the price that you're paying. So that's just my opinion and my thoughts about it. Do let me know in the comments below what you make of these headphones. Are they good or not? And of course, do they fit around your head comfortably or not? I'll be intrigued to hear your thoughts. So if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to see more, and of course favourite and share, as it will always help the channel grow. Alright, I've been Chris, take care and bye bye.